Happy New Year, everybody. This is Tommy Danielsen dialing in from Rockland, California. And we have an interesting show today. We're going to talk about a little bit from everything from plane accidents to all sorts of other interesting things about elite status and what Hyatt is doing and the chatter that's been out for the last couple of days. Rudy bailed last minute, and Jamie was supposed to dial in. We'll see. He hasn't responded to the text, but we'll just start the show right now and talk. It'll be a monologue for a little bit, and hopefully it won't be too boring. Think of it as a political commentary, it's interesting to see. I want to talk a little bit first of all about Hyatt and what they've been doing with their terms and conditions. Have had a major overhaul and some other things that they've started to allow for gifting awards. Type of awards to everybody. So a suite upgrade or a free night, a guest of honor, and even club upgrade awards. Those club upgrade awards that you don't that you really don't use as a globalist. You get these, they're called. So this is what we call milestone awards. Let me share this, and we can just take a look at it. What the changes were. This was presented back in. This was presented back in, like I would say, probably in November. I think it was. Let me find that. Let me find the gig here where we're having the. Let's see one more time. Okay, let's go and see where we have the list here. Just apologize for a little bit of a delay here, but. We will see here. We have, let's go ahead. I found a website that covers that. So, sorry, it's TPG. I know that some people have strong opinions about them, but the changes were that you have the milestone rewards were kind of changed back in November. Is this from November? It looks like it. And the milestone rewards is when you get to various levels of nights, you are able to pick an award. So at 20 nights, what they usually did was it went up to 60 nights, and everything above and beyond that, you could get some sweet night awards. But when you passed, I think it was 70 or 80, it disappeared. So now it goes all the way up into 150 nights. And that makes the, a little bit, the Hyatt program a little bit more interesting, meaning that usually there was like a category 1 through 4, and there were some sweet night awards. There was some various things, points, gift cards, whatever was there. And so these are the new ones. It is at 20 nights, you get 2K next stay award. So here we go. That's better. So it is at 20 nights or 35,000 base points. 2 club access awards was what they had last year, or you get a 2K next stay, 2 club access awards, or a $25 fine experience junk. Then for 30 nights, you get a category 1 through 4, and then that was rolled over, but you have the 2K next day awards as an alternative, in addition to the club access awards as well. And then you have the guest of honor bookings, which you before were able to do as many as you wanted before, but now you get a limited amount of those. And the let me turn on comments here so we see. We got some comments going here for somebody who are more experienced in the Hyatt game than I am. I'm sorry, I haven't had time to go through all of this in advance. But it goes up and all that stuff. And then Gary came out today, and he's actually seeing that and all of these were transferable. You could give them to anybody. And I don't know if you guys know this, but the FTU also runs the best well-run Hyatt groups. We have World of Hyatt is one of the Facebook groups that we own, and also the Hyatt Globalist group. The World of Hyatt is for all members. It has about 20,000 members. It just passed 20,000 members actually today. It's a group we took over a couple of years ago. We're going to develop this group. We're starting to do a lot of work with that group next year. But we saw a lot of people wanting to post and gift and sell these various things. So it's an interesting thing. So Gary covered it today. We've had a lot of discussions in these group. Are we going to allow the gifting? Are we going to allow the bartering and whatnot happening inside of the group? And we decided not to do that because we have plans in our group to do a lot of things with that group for next year or for this year. Actually, it's now on January 4th. So we want to make sure that everything's on the up and up here with these things. So there was a Hyatt Award Marketplace, is what it's called. It's up on Facebook. My Familia Musica was able to where the tip where we got. And a lot of people are like you get these comments here, like Babel speak here. So you post a link to the Facebook Marketplace ASAP. Nice try at virtue signaling, but really it does really that you'll do anything for the clicks. Well, so Gary, posted it to this group, and this group has now changed name today. Actually, let me share this tab where the Facebook group is. 900 members. And who is this? Subhash Chandran and Jeff Hartzner and Sam Dennis are the people who are admins in this group. And 46 posts in a day. That's a lot for a group. Obviously, people are so they changed the names today from Hyatt Award Gift Exchange is the new name. The previous was a marketplace. So I guess after Gary posted the post, they changed the name of this group. But anyway, so is there going to be sale and bartering? Well, we all knew that was going to happen, especially specifically in our sphere of people. They eliminated. So Gary is making a few points about his with unlimited guest of honor. Some power users would have members transfer points into their accounts and then make booking for those members, sharing their globalist status. We knew that was happening, right? That has now been eliminated because you don't have unlimited guest of honors anymore. And with that in mind, that's kind of throws it down a little bit with that. People breaking the terms and conditions isn't really a new thing, right? And there are ways that you could have done it before, but it's just a lot easier now. And when it's a lot easier, people are going to be doing it. And the conclusion here is, of course, it's like, this is why we can't have nice things. Now people are going to be selling it. There's going to be a big gig on that. And it'll be funny now that it actually got some good coverage in the last couple of days. It'll be interesting to see what Hyatt is going to do with this. It's an interesting gig, and it's interesting to see what happens next with that. All right, so we're going to talk next about a little bit about the Westin. That's Gary today too. But Gary covered this right before Christmas about the Westin Heavenly Bed, and Westin was kind of like the groundbreaking company that, back before Westin came out with their bedding, their cotton sheets, their pillows, their mattresses, and all that kind of stuff. There was really a lot of bad hotel beds around the world, and they kind of revolutionized that. Of course, it was Starwood Preferred Guest. It wasn't. I got to turn off all of these things for Gary because it's sometimes when a lot of stuff pops up there that might be copyrighted that we can't broadcast. But the Westin Heavenly Bed, I used to own that back in the 2008, 2009-ish, something like that. I bought one, and it was kind of good. I had it for a few years. wore out pretty quickly, but still extremely comfortable. And that's their what they were, kind of known for, right? And it changed all of these beds. It's become big business. All hotels have now, hotel chains now, or actually hotel brands have their own stores. Marriott has, the various Marriott beds. You've got a St. Regis bed. You've got Ritz-Carlton beds, all sorts of things. Same with a lot of the other. You can get a Mandarin Oriental. You can get a Four Seasons bed. You can get all that kind of stuff as well. So they are now changing for the first time in a very, very long time. Westin is changing how they what they're doing on the bedding front. So they're all going away from no more feathers, no more, all synthetic materials. And it's starting to happen in hotels chain wide. So meaning that you can't get a feather pillow. All the sheets you're getting are not going to be cotton and things like that. So kind of interesting, and I think it's pretty risky to make a move into synthetic. It is Marriott, and we know that Marriott is the world champion and trying to save costs for their real customer, which are of course their franchisees, not us who are actually staying in the hotels and paying money. And synthetic materials, polyester is cheaper than feather, and not synthetic materials and polyesters is cheaper than feather. It's cheaper than cotton, and obviously it'll be interesting to see how they are going to plan and do that. We're going to talk a little bit about it. We're not going to talk too much about it. It's like late in the week. It's not really news anything. I wanted to focus a little bit more on how safe plane travel is in 2024. And so we had the first hull loss of a Airbus 350 happen in an unfortunate accident in Haneda. Where the plane landed early in the morning, and there was a Dash 8 Coast Guard plane, unfortunately, on the runway that wasn't supposed to be there. And the Airbus 350 landed on it, and unfortunately, it says 5 dead here. I think actually we updated it. I thought it was updated to being, 5 out of the 6 crew on the Coast Guard plane were unfortunately killed. The pilot, I would assume the captain, since they say the pilot survived, and he was in critical condition, but they were able to speak to him and got the thing. And they did not have clearance to be on the runway, unfortunately. So sad. But I don't want to talk about that. I kind of want to talk a little bit about how does it look? How safe is it to fly? We had a lot of stuff going on with the 737 MAX, and the 737 MAX is arguably the safest plane on the planet right now. We had something similar to this happen. It wasn't a collision on the runway like we're seeing here in Haneda. However, it was in 2013. We saw a 777-300ER ram into the wall at SFO, which obviously was a tragic accident also. But we were able to, everybody was able to walk away from that crash as well, just like this one. So how is that possible when you see these burning planes happening? Well, there's a lot of the 90 seconds you're supposed to be doing in order to get people out of the plane. Is that the 90 second is the rule. You're supposed to be able to evacuate a plane in 90 seconds, any size, a twin aisle and whatnot. And it's a little bit difficult to do with people. A lot of people bring their bags with them, and a lot of people are got a lot of stuff, and they might be big, they might be handicapped, they might be things like that. So it happened in such a quick manner here and civilized manner in Japan. And we're not really surprised, but this was a pretty maxed out Airbus 350, right? Airbus 350 is smaller than the 777, and the 379 people were on board. That means that there's a lot of seats in there, which is quite common for domestic wide body flights in Japan, right? And I would say that this has just proven that Airbus, and also like it was in 2013 with the 777 that landed, that crashed on final approach into San Francisco, into the seawall there. it's the same thing. It is very safe. And I also saw, there's some chatter. You see all of these Facebook groups and everything like that talking about the 737 Max. They found some screws in the tail section by the rudder and stuff about a month ago. It's the safest way to move around. And unfortunately, this happened, and we feel sorry for the crew that lost their lives in Haneda. All right, we're going to talk a little bit about Jamie's post that he, let's see, about Amtrak. I don't know how many people, you guys know that we like to talk a little bit about trains on this channel. So not everybody's that interested in that. I am, however, pretty interested in myself and follow this pretty closely. Not that I'm lucky enough to live in an area where the Acela or that kind of stuff happens, but the Amtrak has an offer right now. You do 3 qualifying round trips on Northeast Regional or Acela, and or 6 qualifying one-way trips through February 29th. You will get a free round trip, a free travel coupon will be issued to you in March of 2024. So it's kind of a cool gig for those who are not interested in that. Those who are interested in that, we're also going to talk a little bit about what happened with Brightline. We saw that an interesting numbers that a lot of people are traveling with Brightline in Florida. So Florida has, they have done from Brightline has been available from West Palm to Miami, or the other way around, for a long time. Since before the pandemic, it was built with Virgin Trains. They didn't agree to work together anymore, and it became Brightline. And looking at what actually happened was, the route that goes from you can't call this high speed rail, right? It says high-speed rail is coming to Tampa. Well, these trains, these Siemens train we're looking at here, they're made here in Sacramento, actually, but they are diesel trains, and their top speed of these trains in Florida is 115 miles an hour, which really isn't high speed. As a comparison, the California high-speed rail is supposed to be going 225 miles an hour. In Japan, and the Frecciarossa in Italy have a top speed of 200 miles an hour. And in France, the TGV has the top speed of 220 miles an hour. So and also in China, there's a lot of high-speed rail that goes up and 200 plus miles an hour. So 115 is better, but it's not like it's really high speed rail, right? So I know of quite a few people who's taken Brightline. It's not a new product, but they have in the train now. The train line now goes from Miami all the way up to there's no map in here, but it goes all the way up to the airport in Orlando. And the airport in Orlando has a connection. There is that the train station there has a really nice lounge, a better quality lounge than most, which is a cool gig. And now they're talking about doing. There was a meeting, a bill filed on Wednesday that aims to fast track the high speed rail service to Tampa. And how? So this is like. When it comes to high-speed rail or any sort of rail in the U.S., there are multiple problems for those who are not familiar. So the reason why we don't have high-speed rail in America and why it takes so long is because first of all, it's more expensive to build anything in America than it is to build anywhere else in the world. Second, we also are number one in the world when it comes to lawyers and legal stuff. So there's a lot of people with special interests that are suing, and the high-speed rail in California had something in the neighborhood of 500 to 600 lawsuits, I think, in order for it to actually be put to bed and start building. So a lot of years go by with protests, environmental studies needs to happen, but those are usually fast-tracked through if there is appetite to build. And then, of course, there's politics, because you've got some people who think that car is the way to go, and you have also corruption is legal. You have the lobbies with the car and the gas industry or the solar industry or whoever the case may be are allowed to do to have impacts on various things. So they're trying now, as of this first week of January, they are now preparing from going from Orlando International Airport to Tampa, which I think is a great idea. There are some really encouraging rider numbers for the West Palm to which is the West Palm to Orlando Airport that has been open from the coast and all the way up to Orlando Airport, has been open now for about 3-4 months in September. And there are some really encouraging numbers, and also an average spend per passenger is also much higher than expected. And they're also increasing the frequency, which is key in order to get interest and for getting people to use trains as the main or as a good alternative to driving. And so these encouraging numbers, I mean, Brightline lost 130 million last year, but it's, bear in mind, we're in the first 9 months of the year. So we don't have the numbers for how it went in the third quarter or the fourth quarter, except for how the ridership numbers, and the ridership numbers are really encouraging. So people are actually using it. And the good thing is that from while Miami to West Palm is owned by freight companies, and they share the road with all sorts of other trains, so they don't have the right of way. The good news is that from West Palm to Orlando, and then also onwards to Tampa, Brightline owns the line, right? The issue, though, is that it's not really high-speed rail. There might be an investment in the future to change it to all electric, which means that they can increase the speed and all that. There aren't that many stops on the way between West Palm and Orlando Airport, and there won't be that many also to Tampa, onwards to Tampa. So it's perfect for having like real high-speed rail. When I say real high-speed rail, I mean electric, because electric trains, like the trains we have in Europe, the trains we have in Japan, all of these high-speed rails, they need electricity because of the torque that you get that accelerates these big trains up to cruising speed much faster. So when you stop and you go, that's when you see the big difference between diesel and electric trains. So that's why, for example, here in California, Caltrain is electrifying the line between it's actually done. They are now in the final testing stages. So this year, from San Francisco to San Jose will be electrified, and the top speed will go up a little bit, but not much. It'll be 15 minutes faster to go between San Francisco and San Jose. And one of the main reasons isn't because of the top speed. It's because of the acceleration and deceleration between the stations for getting the trains up and down. And it's just modern trains that we're talking about. So it's all electric. It's a double decker, also made here in Sacramento. Oh, wait a minute. I think those are made in Salt Lake City. Don't quote me on that. But it'll be an interesting. It'll be interesting to see if the Tampa portion of this thing gets built. I hope it does. And the last thing I wanted to talk to you about is today. And I also looks like Jamie's not going to make it. Did he fall asleep or something? Let me see here. Texted him again, and he does not respond. Maybe somebody I saw a car had ran into his building yesterday, so it was interesting. But yes, so I don't know if anybody is aware of this, but in California, there's a lot of stuff going on with rail right now, and we have the high-speed rail, which in the Central Valley is being built as we speak, and they're building faster. They've gotten a lot of grants. There's a lot of money that has been allocated to the project. But it also seems to me like there is some other smaller project. We also just talked about the San Francisco to San Jose. With Caltrains, and also probably over to Gilroy moving later. But we also have an interesting project that has been, see if I can get that screen to show here as well. Share screen and see if I can do a window. Here we go. Actually, I can. That's great. So this is the project we're talking about. So there is a train right now that goes from, that's pretty new, and it's called SMART. It is Sonoma. What does it stand for? Area rail or whatever, something like that. And it goes from Santa Rosa right now, and it goes down to Larkspur, which is where you can take the ferry into San Francisco. The problem with this train is that it is a old piece of junk. It's new. It's a new line. It just literally opened very, very recently. But the reason why it is junk is because it is super slow. It goes at an average speed. It uses to go from the SMART train goes from let's see. So it goes. This one is from Petaluma to Larkspur, and it takes like a long time, 55 minutes or something like that. Crazy long time it takes to get down the coast, get from on the red line here from Santa Rosa down to Larkspur is where the train goes. And they're planning on getting it all the way up to Healdsburg, but it's very, very slow. It makes frequent stops. And like we talked about earlier, it's not an old train, but it's a diesel train that requires a lot of stops. Now there was given, I know that you probably watched the news and you saw that there were a lot of, recently, last week or so, there was a lot of money that was given by this the Department of Transportation to various rail projects, where the high-speed rail with Brightline we talked about earlier to LA, from LA to, or from Lake Cucamonga to Las Vegas, which is supposedly going to be ready in 2027, 2028. A simple, easy port project that will be electric and going 220 miles an hour. It had got about $5 billion, and California High-Speed Rail got a little bit north of $3 billion. This also a project. From here, if you can see, I don't know if you can see me showing off the arrow. I guess you can't, if you can do that or not. See if I can go to that picture and you can see. Yeah, there you can see. So the place over here that's called Fairfield. I live up past Sacramento here, but area called Fairfield. So there is a line that goes down there with Amtrak and stuff. But they want to build from Novato they want to build a Sonoma, the blue line that's here from Fairfield to Napa Junction and also to Novato. They want to extend the SMART line. And I looked at the project and it doesn't surprise me, but it's the same speeds. It's slow. It's not going to be a success. And also the SMART train that goes from Larkspur up to Santa Rosa and soon up to Healdsburg, it's so slow, man. And also it operates, the frequency is bad, and it's just a dog of a project. I don't see that happening. But now they're planning on doing it, and it would be, how awesome would it be to be able to drive to Fairfield and take the train from there to Sonoma or to Napa and whatnot instead of sitting in all that traffic. I don't see it happening. The Sonoma to Petaluma to Fairfield, it looks like it might happen, that an extension might happen. But it's definitely a dog, and I'm not sure that it'll be an interesting project for most people. That's unfortunate what happens with the projects in the U.S. So that's all I had on the agenda for today. It became a monologue. I'm sorry about that. Jamie obviously bailed out, and Rudy also for that. I think we're going to go live tomorrow with Marshall to chat a little bit about a couple of things also, that tomorrow, Friday the 5th. So stay tuned for that. And also next week, we're going to talk a little bit about the expansion in LA, which will be finalized this year, and what happens with that. Thank you all for dialing in, and Happy New Year to everybody. Thank you for supporting the FTU and for stopping by our channel, and I'll see you guys next time.